Hello, my name is Vahid Garousi, and I'm going to present a 10-minute video on a recent book chapter of ours, which has been published in the book, an empirical study in Empirical software engineering book. So we are talking about benefiting and how to benefit from the great literature in software engineering research. So this is a joint work with three colleagues and collaborators of mine, as you can see, and also I am showing their Twitter email IDs as well. So in terms of a short outline, I will quickly review the general concept of gray literature and gray literature in software engineering, how GL can be used and analyzed in software engineering research, and then we will summarize and discuss some takeaway messages. So let me just remind that in this short 10-minute talk, I will not repeat what is in the book chapter in depth, but I will just discuss the big picture of GL in software engineering and the important highlights of our work. So, what is gray literature? Many different areas of science have divided literature into three categories: white literature, gray literature, and black literature. And well, we can even talk about what is literature itself. I believe it's really the process and medium via which new knowledge is assessed, documented, and shared. So in terms of essentially white literature, it's really peer-reviewed journal papers and conferences and books. And gray literature really are preprints, e-prints, technical reports, weblogs, and audio-video material. Yeah, and really what distinguishes them is really the level of peer review and rigor in the peer review. So essentially, and there are even other works which have classified even gray literature to kind of, let's say, shades of gray. So this is a nice paper. Was published a few years ago in 2016 and of course in an area outside software engineering, Journal of Management Reviews. Gray literature itself, like that paper, divided into three different tiers, as you can see. So it's really expertise or credibility from known to unknown, and in terms of outlet control from known to unknown. So we can really classify them, and several examples are mentioned here. Let's look at the history of GL. Gray literature term has been around for many years. It was coined the first time in 1975 by Charles Auger. And as you can see, it was about the notes and materials on atomic research produced in World War II, etc., etc. You can see the history there. And it has been used, so GL is already established as a source of knowledge and evidence in many other areas of science. If you do a Google Scholar search for gray literature, more than 158,000 hits are showing. And I think in software engineering, we are a bit behind in using and benefit GL material. Of course, many good works have started to really, many researchers are using GL in software engineering, but I think much more can be done. Let's see GL in software engineering. So let's see how GL is produced in software engineering. So this is like a context diagram I put together a few months ago. We have the software industry, and according to some estimates, and details are in the paper, there are about 23 million software developers worldwide. And in software engineering academia, we are perhaps, let's say, in less than 10,000, a figure less than 10,000. There are some estimates such as 4,000 who actively publish. So, all these people collaborate and of course, software industry people produce software as their main output. And in academia, well, we study how software engineering should be done. And so we produce papers, really. And some of the practitioners write and post on like GL materials, such as videos and blog posts. So really, these are kind of the collaborations. And so I think it's important to understand that. And also the knowledge flow in two directions, which is not that much, and I think should be improved. It's a good idea to have a look at some example SC topic and the type of academic literature versus gray literature that we have in some of these topics. This was a work that I conducted with my good collaborator Mika Mäntylä when and what to automate in software testing. So it was a multi-vocal literature review. We looked at both grey literature and academic literature, and then we synthesize the knowledge together. So some examples of academic literature are shown here. Like these are the screenshots of 2 papers, and then we also looked at 52 grey literature material which had addressed this particular 2 questions in software testing and test automation. We looked at the YouTube materials, some white papers, and also case study papers from the industry and technical reports. So we synthesized the knowledge together from both literatures. Benefits of GL in software engineering. So there are many countless number of benefits. In general, GL materials can provide information on practitioners' contemporary practices, what they're doing in every area of software engineering. They could provide a real information on practice experience, motivations, values, emotions, etc., etc. And at the end of the day, those GL materials will really help bridge between industry and academia, so research and practice, and etc. How GL can be utilized in software engineering research? We think this can be done in a number of ways, and of course, already many works have been done in these categories, but we just try to formalize and categorize this, the type of usage and benefit in software engineering research. So in terms of study types, we can look at primary studies and secondary studies, which are studies of studies. And type of usage, a primary study can analyze GL data, with quantitative or qualitative approaches. And some example papers are provided here. For example, there was using argumentation theory to analyze software practitioners' evidence. There was analyzing the motivations and challenges of developers for blogging. So they were looking at the blogs and then using those materials in a qualitative way. Analyzing them with quantitative approaches. For example, measuring API documentation. So a large number of websites with so many blog posts were mined and analyzing this particular paper for measuring API documentation. There are also many papers which use GL data in a kind of, just as its data. For example, many papers use GL materials to motivate their work. For example, there were various editions of the Standish report. Of course, these are themselves GL papers, but they just use other GL materials to conduct their studies. In secondary studies, many multi-vocal literature reviews have started to appear in software engineering. So these are really some also very good developments in this area, and they can provide lots of benefits. So as a summary and takeaway messages, what I really presented in this 11 slides, again, it's important to recognize that GL has been established as a source of knowledge in many other disciplines, and many various benefits have been observed and reported, right, in health sciences, social sciences, I think psychology, you name it, education sciences. So I think it's time for software engineering research community really to benefit and use GL in much more wider scale. There's a huge amount of GL in software engineering, right? There are thousands and perhaps hundreds of thousands or millions of blogs, white papers, there are thousands or hundred thousands of very high quality YouTube videos on different software engineering aspects, So all these things provide a huge real wealth of knowledge. And great literature can be analyzed in various ways in our area. And at the end of the day, it will really bring industry and academia closer. There are also many more works that are being conducted in this, in the methodological aspect of GL. For example, with my other collaborator, Austen, we just we wrote a few months ago a paper on epistemological analysis of academic versus great literature, and it's impressed in IEEE Software magazine. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you very much.